So this is a little thing I like to call MLB Rants. It's just going to be me ranting about the MLB. It could be some good things, it could be some bad things, but overall it's just me ranting about the MLB. But the thing I do want to point out is that these are only my opinions. That it's not universally correct or anything like that. So if you want to put down in the comment section what you think about the topics that I discussed this week, then feel free to do so, and I'll be sure to look at them. If there are things that you want me to talk about next week, feel free to also put those down in the comments below, and I'll be sure to get to them if I decide that it's, worthy enough, because I've only got so long. I don't want the video to be too long, so I can only pick a handful of stories. And with these videos, they're going to be split up into two different parts. You're going to have, 4 or 5 small-ish stories that I feel like are more funny than they are serious. And then you'll have the bigger 2 to 3 stories that, really need to be addressed. I plan to be uploading weekly. I plan to upload every Friday. This video is being uploaded on the 16th of April. I am a little bit late to the MLB season. We're already in the second week. I missed the first week because, I didn't really think there wasn't anything going on. So, yeah. This is MLB Rants, MLB... This is MLB Rants, Season 2021, Episode 1, the very first episode of this channel. Now, the first thing I want to get into is the St. Louis Cardinals, more specifically, Nolan Arenado. Because Nolan Arenado, when he was with the Rockies, he was like a mediocre player. He was good, and there are some clips of him where, he's doing some crazy stuff. And when he got traded to the Cardinals, it wasn't a big deal, but it was more Nolan Arenado's going to be really good at the Cardinals. He doesn't even care. He doesn't care about the sport whatsoever. It's sad, because when you take the Cardinals, who have an all-star lineup, you've got Yadier Molina, you've got Paul DeJong, you've got Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado, you've got pitchers as well, like Webb, and it's just it's like they can't make anything out of it, and it's so bizarre, because the Cardinals used to be that continuous playoff team, and they won it. It's like they've built a team, but the players on that team just gave up. Yadier Molina in the week, first catcher to catch 2,000 games for one team. He's been playing before I was born. That's how long this guy's been playing for the Cardinals. Yeah, that's the first thing I wanted to address. This fly. Okay. The next thing I want to go into is Rougned Odor of the New York Yankees. When you look at Rougned Odor from the Rangers and you look at him now at the Yankees, it looks like two different people. It really does. Because Odor with the Rangers, he had the little goatee. He had really elf-like ears. I'm not trying to make fun of Odor, but just pointing out the facts here. Now that he's with the Yankees, he looks a lot bigger. And, I watched the clip of his first hit with the Yankees, and I'm like, that's not Odor, and it is. It's like he's grown a few inches and gained a few pounds, lost the beard, and his ears, they're still the same, let's be honest. The next thing, JD Martinez. JD Martinez is the designated hitter for the Boston Red Sox, and, to make things short, the dude hit 3 home runs in one game, and it was the same game. It was his first game, because he was put on the COVID list, and he was out due to COVID. He hits 3 home runs in one game, and then goes back onto the COVID. It's like the trade offer for JD Martinez is a round of applause for home runs and RBIs, and for actual wins for the Red Sox. Because the Red Sox are top 10 in the power rankings, which is incredible. Because after their season last year, it seemed as if the Red Sox had no hope. Another guy who has been really good this season is Akil Baddoo. Akil Baddoo is a rookie sensation in Detroit, and the kid can just hit home runs. And I'm not just saying that because, his first pitch of his MLB season was a nuke to like left center. Like, no, the dude can hit. I've been watching him play, and it's a different animal out there. I'm hoping for him and watching him play, especially on the Tigers, who the Tigers look like an up-and-coming team in my opinion. In my opinion, like, I'm not saying that they're World Series bound. I'm not even saying that they're postseason bound. I'm just saying that, especially in recent years, because they've gone through like a decade drought where it's like they haven't even gone to the postseason. So I'm just saying that, with Miguel Cabrera, who's actually somewhat healthy this year, and you've got this new rookie sensation, I feel like it's a perfect match for the Tigers. Now, the next thing I have, the next team I want to talk about are the Chicago Cubs. They're awful. I pulled up a stat the other day, and the stat was that, Chicago Cubs NL team, right? They play in the NL Central. The batting average throughout the whole team, that's spread across the whole team, is 124, right? 124 is really low, especially for, when you have Chris Bryant, you've got Anthony, those are power hitters. They should be getting on base every other time they step up to that plate, yet they're not. And so combined with the rest of their team, their batting average is 124. I want to compare that stat to the NL pitchers that have had at-bats this year. NL pitchers usually stand in the box and just let pitches fly by. Maybe you'll have, some guy that actually lets it rip and maybe makes contact and it's a ground ball to, second base, something like that. Or just a bunt because, sacrifice, why not, right? NL pitching batting average, so the batting average of NL pitchers throughout the entire NL is 154. I know that you're comparing, there are a lot of NL pitchers, and comparing that to the Chicago Cubs is a little bit unfair because you've got more NL pitchers than you do Chicago Cubs. But at the same time, the Chicago Cubs should definitely, because 154 for NL pitchers is pretty high. Combined is pretty high. And the fact that the Chicago Cubs are that low. Chicago Cubs are the one-hit wonder team every other century. That's it. They won back in 2016. They're not going to win until 2100. That's all I'm going to say. Cubs fans in particular talk as if, especially 2017, 2018, they talk as if their team were playoff bound every year. They were World Series bound every year. They were going to win the World Series. No, you're not. Because you can't. You don't have that ability. Okay? You've got washed out players that clearly can't hit because they're batting worse than NL pitchers. It's their division that they play. The division that they play in, you've got the Reds, who are the most confusing team this year because apparently they're good. I mean, no one really saw that coming. The Pirates are the worst team in the league. You've got the Brewers, who were also supposed to be good, and they're not. And the Cardinals are the same deal. The NL Central is a mess right now because there are no good teams in it, apart from the Reds. And the Reds shouldn't even be good. Who do they have? Yeah, they've got Eugenio Suarez. Yeah, sure. They've got Myles Garrett, who's a good pitcher, don't get me wrong. But they got rid of Dietrich. They got rid of Puig. They got rid of, all these players. Joey Votto's been there for the longest time, and the dude does the same thing every year. He should definitely go to the Hall of Fame when he retires because he's good every year. He's always got a decent batting average every single year. And playing for a team like the Reds, who for the past few years, they've been bottom of the league. And now they're one of the top 10 teams, which is unbelievable. So, yeah. The Cubs are terrible. Their batting average sucks, and they really need to do something about that. We've got past all the small things, and now I want to focus on the big things, the things that this video is titled, the things that make you want to click on this video, actually make you want to watch this video. The first thing I want to discuss is the Dodgers. The Dodgers are expected to win the World Series this year because they've essentially got the same lineup they did last year. They're a great team. They're top of the league right now. And everyone's like, yep, it's the Dodgers. There's no other team better than them. They're not going to win the World Series. They're not. It's not because I don't think that there's a certain team that can actually beat them. It's more about them beating themselves. So I know it's early on in the season, and I hate when people say this about, oh, well, it's early in the season, so the record doesn't really matter. Yeah, we're making power rankings in week 2, so clearly it matters. And the power rankings aren't anything to do with the record, because you've got teams like the Angels, and the Angels, little sidebar here, Angels fans are going absolutely nuts because their team is ranked 8 and 9 in power rankings. Well, they had the best record in the AL. And it's like, but that record doesn't mean it. Like, yes, it's great that you win games, and you winning those games is ultimately what puts you in the postseason. That's where records matter. But in power rankings, Angels fans should not be getting so mad when they don't see their team like number 1, let's say. Going back to the Dodgers, the thing I want to talk about with the Dodgers is their schedule. They played their opening day series against the Rockies. They played the Athletics. They played the Rockies again, and they played the Nationals, right? Rockies, Nationals, and A's are all in the bottom of the league. This happens every season with the Dodgers. Last year, yeah, they proved themselves. They deserve to win that World Series. Good on them. This year, especially right now, just looking at who they're playing, their schedule is weak. They play the Padres next after the Rockies. And that Padres-Dodgers series is going to be really interesting because the Padres actually serve as a threat to the Dodgers. I think they might have played the Diamondbacks. And the Diamondbacks also bottom. They're playing the Rockies, and not only are they beating them by like 1 or 2 runs when they should definitely just be blowing them out of the water, they're losing to these teams too. Their opening day game at Dodger Stadium against the Nationals, they scored 1 home run. That was it. That was against the Nationals, who, again, bottom of the league, bottom of power rankings. How can you only hit 1 home? I understand Max Scherzer is a great pitcher, but he wasn't in there the whole game. They took him out, and they still couldn't do anything. The thing I did want to talk about with the Dodgers was I was going to make the argument that the Padres would be the team to actually clinch the NL West and go, because the thing that Dodger fans are saying right now is, oh, the Padres paid $600 million just to win the wild card because Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. both signed contracts this year. And it's like, Fernando Tatis Jr. hasn't even played. And they're still right under you in power rankings, in overall record, in everything. They're right under you. They're like maybe half a game behind, one game behind. But after their series against the Pirates, oh my God, how do you give up that many runs to the Pirates? The Pirates are bottom, actual bottom. They're the worst team in the MLB right now. And they're getting blown out by the Pirates. With what pitching? With what hitting? You got Josh Bell, right? And the dude hits a home run every other at bat. Come on, seriously, the Pirates. Because I was going to make a strong argument about them, but I can't. Because the Padres aren't as good as I thought they were. Sure, they might still have a chance to actually win the NL West, but right now, as I'm sitting on it, I feel like they're going to get wild card. Because, you compare the rest of the NL, who's gonna get the wild card? I mean, like, come on. The NL is a joke at this point. Like, honestly, the AL is a bit of a joke too. Baseball, crazy sport. One year it's like, one, but the other, no. I swear, the Dodgers have been the only consistent team though. I will add that, but I still don't think they'll win the World Series because, at the end of the day, they choked. They choked 2 years ago against the Nationals. they choked. You can't really say they choked against the Red Sox and the Astros because they cheated. But the Nationals one was, really funny because it's like you can't even make it past your first game, essentially. But yeah, speaking of the Red Sox and the Astros cheating, this is my next thing I want to get into, right? The rules and regulations that are put in place for the MLB are ridiculous. I know we've been on this whole Astros suck bandwagon for cheating for the longest time. We might drop it, but at the same time, it's a good time to really reflect on what actually happened. And it's just, when you think about it, you think about last year, right? Last year, Joe Kelly made his little baby face to the Astros, right? Got an 8-game suspension. You had the Reds-Phillies game where I think it was Suarez who was like literally standing over the catcher and just like yelling at him, swearing at him, and just like saying, and he got a 2-game suspension for that. The Astros literally cheated the game and they don't get anything. You'd think they'd have that like title stripped. And it's like that was questionable? Shouldn't that be obvious? I mean, like, when you cheat, you don't deserve that. You didn't test your abilities. You tested your skill to cheat. And that's what made you win. Because cheating is a lot easier than actually playing the game. If you're going to give Joe Kelly a suspension for reacting to something that someone on the other bench said, how can you give him a suspension for that? I want to talk about the umpires this year. Because, oh my God, the amount of calls missed. Let's talk about the first thing that happened. The first thing that happened where the umpires, they seem clueless, is the Michael Conforto getting hit by a pitch to win the game, right? Michael Conforto, right? The clip shows him clearly leaning into the batter's box and letting that ball hit him. Now, the rule states that you have to show that you're trying to get out of the way in order to get that base. He leaned into it. He wasn't trying to get out of the way. He was trying to get in the way. For MLB fans, it's just like, yeah, umpires are umpires. They're always going to make those mistakes. But it didn't just stop there. You've got the Dodgers Athletics game, right? I'm pretty sure it's Piscotty. I can't remember. But it was someone on the A's hit a home run, right? And it was going down the line. It was going down the left field line. And then it tailed foul. But no, to the umpires, that's a home run. It goes foul. Oh, no. That is a fair ball. That is a home run all day. And the umps review it and still say it's a home run. Like with the Michael Conforto thing, they didn't even review that. So they didn't have that second chance to look back at it and see whether or not they made the bad choice. For this one, they did. And of course, the thing is, well, there's not enough evidence to prove that it wasn't a home run. That's not how we should look at it. That's dumb. Why should we look at it like that? Like, I understand, like, if all else fails, just go with the call that, initially. But if you can see a particular angle where it's clearly the other call than the umpires just made, then go with that call. If the people upstairs don't see that, it's like the umpires just stand there with their heads on. They're just nodding their head. Yeah, okay, yeah. They're not saying anything. They're not giving their own opinion. They're just listening to what the other person has to say about it. Who's in front of they're saying the same thing. But yet the umpire just accepts it. Just saying, oh, the umpires are just trying to get out of the game as soon as possible. But going back to the whole umpiring case, we've discussed the Michael Conforto hit by pitch walk-off, which he leaned into. We've got the Piscotty, I'm pretty sure Piscotty home run on the Athletics Dodgers game. And the thing that is circulated more than anything, because it's more recent than anything else, and it's more widely known than anything else, is Baum being thrown out at the plate. It gets called safe. There are multiple angles. There's an angle that they use behind home plate. And the problem with it is on the exact moment where Baum actually plants his foot down into the ground, not on home plate, he misses home plate, but onto the ground, the ump blocks that view. But the thing about that is Baum twirls in place of where he lands. And just thinking about it from a physics standpoint, when you slide as a baseball player, get up and twirl, your toe and your foot, like the top half of your foot, is going to be in proximity of where you've just landed. And Baum is twirling next to home plate, not on home plate, but next to home plate. And again, they review it, and it comes back with there's not enough substantial evidence to overturn the call. It misses home plate completely. It's close, yes, but it lands besides home plate, and that's easy. You can tell. You can tell that it lands besides home plate. And every Major League Baseball player is like, you've got to be joking. We're still making these kinds of calls. We have all this technology, and we're still making these bad decisions. Like, who did it worse in Atlanta? Baum not touching the plate, or Carlos Gomez not touching the plate when he got into that fight with McCann? You're out there for 9 innings. Great. That's your job. You get paid to do that. You volunteered to do that. So do your job. And if you see, you're at an angle where you can see his foot and home plate clearly separated from each other. And if you see that, call him out. And when you review it and you come back with there's no substantial evidence, when every major league professional is talking about the same replay, talking about the same angle, talking about how he's clearly out, how can you not? And it's like the umpires don't even admit to their mistakes. You think just a tweet saying, yeah, we might have messed that up a little bit. No, that doesn't even happen. That doesn't even happen. And they need to change it. They just get it wrong. It's terrible. It's terrible. The umpires are terrible. So that is the conclusion of the first episode of MLB Rants of the 2021 season. Make sure to like the video if you really liked it. Dislike it if you really want to. Why not? Make sure you subscribe, push the bell for post notifications, and put down in the comments if you agree with some of the things I said. If you disagree with some of the things I said, put down in the comments what I should cover. If there's a story that comes up next week that you feel like I should cover, put it in the comment section here. I'll be sure to read them. Why not? It's a discussion to have. It's a friendly environment, even though I just, flip the table. That's it for this video. That's it for this episode. I will see you next week. Peace.